Hello there, this is Dave Allen for Good and Geeky, and today we're going to make ourselves a shortcut, which is going to be a shortcut to make the perfect blog post. We're going to start off by having a list in there, so let's get a list in there first of all. Type in at the top of this section over on the left hand side here, and we can look for scripting list and drag that into there. So basically what we're going to do now is going to say what our options are for our list, and I've got two blogs that I work on, and one is called EV20Q and the other one is called Good and Geeky. Okay, so I've got two items in my list now. What we want to do is we want to be able to choose from those two items. So the next thing we're going to need in there is a choose from list. So go back up to this one here again and start typing in there choose from list, and drag this and drop this in this here. And the prompt is going to be, let's see, choose your blog. We don't want it to say select multiple, because if it selects multiple then that's it's just going to mess things up and do anything. I want to choose one. Okay, so that's that part done there, and next thing we're going to add is a get text from input. So I'm going to drag this and drop in here because we want to use the text that's in the list there as our text for our variable. So let's just go to variable now, set variable, drag that and drop that in there, and this variable is going to be called blog. That's a good start, isn't it? It's probably not necessary to do this, but I like to put a bit of a break in there so nothing else gets passed through into something else there. So I'm going to put a nothing in there. This action does nothing, selects nothing, passes nothing through, and I've just put it in there as a break. I might not need it, but I like to have it in there anyway, just to be sure. The next thing to do is to ask for input. So we're going to ask for input, drag that and drop that in there. It's just so easy making these things here. We can drag and drop these elements of coding in there, and you don't have to sort of write a whole part of text in a coding editor to be able to make things happen. So now we're going to be looking for the title of the post. So this is going to be something that we're going to put in there to get the title. There's no default answer. It's going to be a text that's going to come out of that, and we're going to want to have that as text coming out of it. So next we want a text box. So I'm going to get this text box and put it in underneath there. And the first thing we're going to want is to get the details from the default answer from ask for input. So let's just go to this here, and we're going to put that in there. Now what we want to do is just make this a bit better. We're going to change that there to rename, and we're going to, instead of being called ask for input, because we're going to want it to be called title, we're going to put title in there. This is the first part of it, which is going to be about writing the stuff for the blog post. It's about writing, so let's put something in there that's going to make it easier to look at and easier to find things when we're looking at a whole big list of reminders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to emojis, and I'm going to put an emoji in there, and we'll just put a pen in there just to denote that it's about writing. So we're going to put the title in there. In fact, what I think we'll do is we'll change this, and I'll put in this in front of that there, and we're going to put the blog in there. Put blog in first. Then we'll have a dash and then title. Then we're going to say what we want in the first item on our list. And the first item in our list is going to be to write or dictate the post. So when we've written or dictated the post, we're going to be able to mark that off as being done. Okay, so I've gone back into the original list there, which is for the blog post, and I've put a little emoji in each of those as well. Then what I've done is I've got the text going here, and I've put in the pen there to say it's about writing. I've got the blog, dash, title. I've got each of the four things I want to cover when I'm writing the post. So I'm going to dictate the post. I'm going to edit in Ulysses afterwards. Then I'm going to make an image, which is the featured image for the post. I'll do that in Affinity whether I'm working on the Mac or whether I'm working on the iOS. Then I'm going to post the words for the publication into WordPress. That's everything sorted out for doing the writing part of this here. Now what I'm going to do with this text here is I'm going to set this as a variable. So let's go to variable, set this as a variable. We'll call it right. So that's our variable in there, right. Now we need some more text in there. So let's put some more text in there. Now I think a blog post should also have video in there. So this is going to be the video that's required in there if we're making a video to go with the blog post. So first of all, I'm going to have a little filmmaking thing to say that it's to do with video. Then we're going to have blog, dash, then title. And then we're going to have the various things that need to be done, like getting the clips into the editing software, edit the video ready for publishing. I'm going to need to make a custom thumbnail for the video. And that's why I've put a little icon in there for a paint palette to signify that it's something to do with images. I've got to write a blurb for the video description, which I've put a little pen in there because it's for the video, but it's something to do with writing. So that's something else to make it easy to find things when I'm looking at the whole list of reminders in the list I have later. It's going to be a long list. Upload video to YouTube, YouTubeBuddy to set everything right for publishing. And then I've got a couple of things there which are to do with sending off to social networks, which I've put by a little trumpet in there, blowing my trumpet to publish the URL to Twitter and to Facebook. So that's done there, and now we want to set a variable. So let's put a variable in there, and the variable, we're going to call this text box video. We're also going to put audio in there, so we need to do the same thing again. We're going to put a text box in there first of all. So let's get text, and we're going to do the same that we did for the video, but it's going to be all about doing the audio. Okay, so now I've got everything in there for doing the audio. We've got a little microphone symbol in there first of all. Then we've got the same as the other one there. We've got blog dash title, and that's just going to make it easier for finding the stuff. I like to have the blog first because I could be working on more than one blog post at a time, and I'd want, if they're in the same list, then it's easier to see which one it's supposed to go with. So first of all, we want to record the audio. Then we're going to edit the audio with the tops and tails and extras for the audio. They're going to have the upload the episode to the blog website, upload the audio to the anchor.fm website. We're going to have to write a blurb to go with Anchor. We're going to have to do an image to go with the Anchor episode. And we also want to send some tweets out and things to the Facebook page to do with the audio as well. And we've got the text in there, and the next thing to do is to set a variable. So let's go to the variable again, set variable, drag that and drop that in below. And the variable is going to be called audio. Now later in the shortcut, I'm going to need to use a date. And the date I'm going to have to put in there like this. So we're going to put in a date there, ready to be used later. So put the date in first of all. I want to set these things, they're going to be 8 hours from, the due date is going to be 8 hours from when I do this, run this shortcut. So I need to have the date in there, and I need to adjust the date. So let's just go to this here, drop this in underneath that there. And we're going to add hours, and we're going to add 8 of them. So that 8 hours is basically going to give us 8 hours for doing the work on the stuff that we need to do for the main part of the blog post. So we've got the date in there ready to go with, and just to make sure nothing gets pushed on to the next thing, I'm going to put a nothing in there. So next thing we want to do is to choose from a menu. So let's go to menu, so start searching for it over here, choose from menu. Put this in at the bottom here. First option is going to be just a blog. Blog. It's going to be pictures as well. We're going to have some images in there. You can't have a blog post without some images in there, but for the moment we'll just say it's blog with text. So you see we've put our menu in there, and we've got some spaces in here to go with what's going to be happening whenever each of these menu buttons is chosen. So let's get text to put in there, and we're going to grab this and put it in here. Okay, so we want to put some text into this here, and the variable that we want in there is write. And that's all we need to put into that one there. So everything that's to do with writing is going there. Now the audio, we're going to put some more text in there. It's going to be writing and audio as well. So let's get some text box in there first of all. This is going to be our list of things we're going to put in there if it's going to be to do with writing. So we want writing in there, and on the next thing there we're going to have audio. So that's going to bring in all the stuff we had in the text box for writing and also the text box for audio. And we're going to do the same for video. So with video, let's just get another text in there. So text, drag it and drop it into the thing underneath the video. And then this one obviously is going to be the writing. So the things that we're going to do for writing and also for making the video. And the next one there is going to be the full Monty. So let's just get a text, a box in there, and put that in there. And this one here is going to be everything. So we're going to have writing in there. We're going to need the audio section in there, and we want the video in there as well. So we've got writing, we've got audio, and we've got video. We've got everything there, the full Monty. Let's move on to the next part of the thing here. So we want to get the text from the input. So let's put get text from input and put this underneath the menu. So whatever is chosen out of this here is going to go through into this get text from input. And then we're going to need to split the text. So it's split text, because otherwise it'll just come through as one lump. We won't want it in as one lump. We want to separate each of the lines. So we're going to have a separator there of new lines, and it's already set to new lines, which is good. And then we're going to go to repeat with each. So repeat. So let's drag the repeat with each in there and put that in the bottom of there. So repeat with each. With each of the lines of text, we want to create a new reminder. So now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of this here. We're going to add a new reminder. So add new reminder, and we're going to drag this and drop this in between the what's it gone to now? That's what happens sometimes. You drag this around and it sort of goes into the wrong place, and you have to start again and move it around again. So there we go. We're moving it around. So now this is going to go in there, and we want in this here the repeat item. So we can just tap on that bit there and put the repeat item in there. The list that it's going to go to is going to go into the perfect blog list. We've already set that up previously. And remind me, we want a reminder on this here at a time. So this is where our 8 hours comes in, that we put in up here. So see a date, adjust date and all that thing. That's what we're going to use that down here. At a time. And this is where we put it in here. So we're going to put it in there. So let's find our variable. Let's go for magic variables. Let's get a magic variable out of this here. So this is the adjusted date. And we're going to rename it. This one here is plus 8 hours. Plus 8. So now what's going to happen is the text is going to come through from our menu. It's going to be either one of the 4 options there, and it's going to split the lines up into separate lines, and it's going to repeat with each a new reminder. So we could run this now and it'll do all that we want it to do, and it'll make reminders depending on which menu item we choose. But we haven't finished there. There's a few things there that we need to do. We're going to put in a nothing there just to make sure nothing comes through from this main part of the shortcut. We want some more dates in there, so we're going to put some dates in here. So let's put a date thing in there for date. And I'm doing a separate one of these here because it's going to be, we want something to happen in 1 day's time, we want something to happen in 2 days' time, and we also want something to happen in 7 days' time. And this is going to add one on top of the other, so this is how we're going to do this. So we've got a date, which is our starting current date, okay? Then we want to adjust the date, so let's grab one of those. Put it in there. We're going to add a date to that there. So put 1 in that bit there. And we're going to adjust another date again. So drag that and drop that in the bottom there. And we need to add another day to it. Days. So add 1 more day to it. So that's going to give us 2 days. And then we're going to add another thing to it as well. Adjust date again. There's method of my madness. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. So on this one here, we want to add 5 days. Okay, so the way this is going to work is that gives us our current date. This next one here gives us add 1 day to it, so it's going to mean something's going to happen tomorrow. Then we're going to have something that's going to happen in 2 days' time, so that's going to add another day to it. And then the adjust date, 5 days. So we add 2 plus 5, that's going to give us our 7 days. The last one there is going to be 7 days. And I'm again going to put a nothing in there just to make sure that nothing of this follows through onto the next part of the... drag that and drop that down, so that's a nothing there, so that breaks it up from what's happened previously. And next thing to do is to add a new reminder. So let's do that again, add, drag this, drop this in at the bottom. Try and drag it at the bottom. I've done it again, look. So drag that in under the nothing at the bottom there. So the title is going to be... this time I'm going to make up the title here, so let's go to, it's going to be a tweet or something. Let's put a space in there, and we want to put the title in there. Let's go to our variables. So first of all, we're going to have blog, dash, variables again, title, space. Now this is something that's going to go into Twitter, so I'm going to have a little icon in it, emoji to go in there as well. That's the Twitter thing that I'm going to say, well, a bit like Twitter anyway. Okay then, so that's everything in there. So this is our new reminder. It's going to go into the correct list, which is perfect blog. and it's going to remind me at a time, and the time is going to be the day after, so we want it to be tomorrow. So we need to get an adjusted date, so we're going to go to this one here, the magic variables, and we're going to choose this adjusted date here, and we're going to rename that adjusted date to tomorrow. Also on the day after, we want to send something into Instagram, so let's add another reminder. Put this into here at the bottom. And the title again is going to be the stuff that we need to do to send it off to Instagram. Okay, so that's going to go in there. It's going to go to the perfect blog list. It's going to remind us at a time, and the time can be, let's go to our variables. It's going to be tomorrow as well. So we're going to have two reminders for tomorrow. We should send something off to Pinterest as well. Let's put another reminder in there. Add new reminder. Drag this, drop this to the bottom. So on this one as well, we want to have it so this says it's going to which blog. Go and get a title from the variables. Put a dash in between the two just to make it more readable. So we're going to send a picture to Pinterest, and then it's going to go into the perfect blog again. We're going to get a reminder at a time, and this time we're going to have it for the day after again. So we're going to go for this magic variables, so because we can choose it a bit easier using magic variables, and we want this adjusted date, so it's going to be the day after tomorrow. So go for the adjusted date there, select that, rename it, so that's day after tomorrow. So then we want one more reminder, because if you're making a blog post, you want to make sure it gets out there and it's followed up on. You don't want to sort of just put it out there and then forget about it. You want to go to it a week later and do some more sending off to the social networks a week later. New reminder again. Drag this to the bottom. And this one here, we're going to put a title in there. So it's going to be to do with the social networks. What we want to do now is we want to title the shortcut. So here we title the shortcut, click on done, and you can change the icon, and I'll put a purple one in there. We'll change the glyph, put that in there just so it's something. We could have a star in there, whatever you fancy. There are a few different glyphs you can choose from in this here, and then if you wanted to, you could take a photograph or select a photo and have that as your shortcut. So there's a number of possibilities. Let's go back into settings. Showing widget, we could do that if we want to. We could show in share sheet if we want to. I don't think we need to, because it's running by itself. We're not bringing in something from another application, so we don't need to have it in share sheet. And we could have it in the home screen if we wanted to as well. So we could put it onto the front page of our device. Let's do that. Add to home screen. So this here, you go to follow the instructions, tap that. Add to home screen, best blog post, and click on add, and there it is. So if I press the icon on my home screen now, it's going to run my blog post. So let's do that and see how it happens. So it's all starting to run. We're going to choose the blog first of all for EV20 questions. Title of the post is going to be about my car. Click on OK. It's going to be just a blog with some text, and it's running through the list there now. I think that's done. So let's click on that there. We're going to go into reminders now. So the reminders, and we'll find what it's done. So scheduled. So you see there in today and tomorrow, and in Thursday 17th of January, he's got some stuff in there. It's 4 items that are for today, which is the writing part of it. For tomorrow, it's going to be, it's telling me to retweet the blog post, YouTube and Anchor URL, and also send a picture off to Instagram. When I've written the post, I'll tap on that there. When I've edited it in Ulysses, I'll click on that one there. And if it's if I've made the featured image, I can tap there. I'll post the words into BlogPress, do that. And then tomorrow, I'm going to follow up with the rest of the thing here. So now it just shows what I've got on my list for today. So there you go. That's how to make a shortcut in Shortcuts for the perfect blog post, and how it sent all the stuff into reminders. Doesn't it work well? I'll just show you again the whole thing working. We'll use the this one here. We'll go for the whole kit and caboodle this time. So let's choose the other blog post this time. Let's say it's about shortcuts. Click on OK. and it's going to be the full Monty. Go through the whole sort of kit and caboodle there, and the job's done. So let's go into reminders. And as you can see in reminders now, I've got a whole bloody great big list of things to be done here. Oh, I see, I didn't put the thing in here, so let's put the time in this one here. Okay, so let's just go into this one here, and it's got to be reminded at a time. And we'll do this here, this is what I forgot. And to go to magic variables. And in the magic variables, we've got to go to the adjusted date here that we haven't put a thing on there. Let's just select that, rename it, and we'll call it. So now we'll get all of the reminders done, including this one here, which tells us to send stuff off in a week's time to Twitter and to Facebook. So, job done. Even though I forgot something at the end, it shows you that you can go back into these things and you can adjust as necessary. Click on done. And our best blog post is in there, as you can see. And it can be first in the list. So click on done. So now when we want to go into this library of our shortcuts, it's the first in the list. Good stuff or what? Thanks for watching, and I'm probably going to make another one of these. Next time I'm going to have it sent to Omnifocus instead of to reminders. I think that'll work out quite nicely. There's going to be a good and geeky book to go with this shortcut and making the perfect blog post, and it'll be available in Amazon. Check out in the description below for the details. Bye bye now.